everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Is It That Deep podcast. I'm your host, Doing, and I have two special guests with me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Esther. I am born and raised in the New York City area. Currently work in finance, and I'm also a freelance makeup artist. So, some of my hobbies include traveling as well as trying different kinds of food. I'm a foodie, so that's everything about me.
Do you want to drop your business page?
On my business page, Face Bully S, come get beat down. Period.
Her.
Okay, my name is Chiniere. I'm originally from Brooklyn, but I currently live in Dallas, and I also work in finance as well. What I like to do for fun, I travel a lot. I like to experience new things, so I'm pretty much down for anything. Like, I'll try anything once. Unless it's like a high risk of me dying, then I won't do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are introducing yourself like we're in like a work meeting where you have to say a fun fact or something. So we're gonna spice it up a little bit. Just as a quick icebreaker, I want you guys to share an embarrassing moment that you've experienced. Your most embarrassing moment. Time is ticking. Who wants to go first?
I need time to think, because I don't really get embarrassed. I'm shameless. So,
Yeah, shameless.
eh.
Shameless is a big word, though.
Like, I don't really get embarrassed. Like, say, like, I'm walking someplace in public and I fall. Like, I won't be embarrassed. I just laugh harder than anyone else.
Oh, okay.
So,
But do you have any of these moments? You don't? Well, Esther, I know you have many.
She took me up last. That's crazy. Embarrassing moments. I have a couple, but
You can share one.
I can share one. Embarrassing moment, probably getting very intoxicated, and that's just something that's not of me. I'm a lady, so it wasn't cute. It was not cute at all. So
Yeah.
definitely embarrassing. Not gonna happen again.
Yes. You don't want to give us the backstory?
No.
Not that one. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Cherry, you still have nothing.
Okay, since she's mentioned getting drunk, I think I got too drunk one time when I was like 21.
You got like blacked out.
No, yeah, like I threw up all over myself in like the club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Esther's was not that embarrassing.
but but like I wasn't really that embarrassed because my friends was like, okay, time to go. Like,
Okay,
wow.
good
call the
support
Uber.
system.
Let's get them out of here before everyone notices.
Oh, so when did you decide to stop drinking?
The beginning of the year, it was really random. So even though that one time I got drunk where I was like throwing up, I don't get drunk often. So it was like easy for me to just quit. So one day I was like, let me just quit something. And so I quit alcohol.
Okay, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. So that's like a part of your 2024 New Year resolution type thing.
Maybe like week 2. Because my birthday's in January as well. So it's like the day before my birthday. I was just like, I'm going to stop drinking.
Period.
And that was
Per.
Oh, you got 2 January birthdays on here.
Really?
Well,
Are you an
yes.
Aquarius?
No, I'm a Capricorn.
Oh.
We
You
start
guys,
the
we
year
don't do
off.
star signs on this podcast.
I'm just saying, you
I
got
would
the
just-
January birthdays on here. You have to acknowledge us. Obviously, we're your favorites.
Wait, do you know why I'm saying we don't do star signs?
Yeah, because we're Christians.
Exactly.
I get it. We're Christians. We don't do none of that. I'm just saying, we're January babies. So.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get into the topic. So essentially, the topic for today is adulting struggles. I don't know about you guys, but I thought college was hard, but after college, it's a whole different game. Like having to figure out what to do post graduation, like in terms of your career, like should you use your 20s to grind, or or basically just even trying to figure out how to be on your grind, also maintain your social life. It's a lot, and then also when you are done with college, like new responsibilities come in. Like a lot of us, you go to, I know like some people who move to New York, do your job, or even like paying rent, bills, Easy Pass. I'll get into Easy Pass in a moment, but Easy Pass, It seems like such a easy pass is like because you're not from here, but do you know what easy pass is?
No,
For like
the
driving.
toll.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's from here. He just said he's a New York native. Don't do that.
my bad, my bad. See, you know what? I know he lives in Dallas right now, so I forget that
That I'm a Brooklyn
he's a
boy.
Brooklyn boy.
Period.
But essentially, let's get into it. So I want you guys to like share some, maybe not something you struggled with, but like a very popular thing that we struggle with post graduation. You guys are quiet.
Well, okay, so something that's not personal, but like we see.
It doesn't have, if you want it to be personal, it's
Well, I
fine.
see a lot of people struggling, like, what are they going to do? Like, trying to figure out, like, what their goals are, even, like, career-wise, out of school. I know a lot of people that don't work in what they study. I don't even really work in what I study, though. So, like,
Yeah, you did law, right?
I did law. Yeah, I did 2 law degrees.
He's a whole lawyer, guys.
I am.
Don't play.
Period.
But I work in finance. But you know what? Going into law school, when my father came to me, he was like, "Oh, I want you to go to law school." I was like, "But I don't know if I want to be a lawyer." He's like, "Well, if you're a lawyer, you can do anything. So there are a lot of transferable skills that you pick up in law school. So even though I don't work as an attorney, me having my law degrees helped me get the job that I have in finance." So, but a lot of people like they would study like business administration, and then like, what do you do? And they were like, "Oh, I work at Whole Foods." So it's just like, or something, like a lot of people get like a lot of liberal arts degrees, and then they can't find a job in what they studied. So I feel like a lot of people they're having a hard time trying to like get that career and get the footing in the career and start things off, especially like in their 20s.
I don't know what to start on that because I think it's sad. Like, imagine you went to. I mean, it's a 50-50 thing because I've also seen people who like maybe did like a liberal arts degree and are working in finance as well and making the big bucks. So I think honestly it just boils down to how you market yourself. Any, I guess a tip I'll give for people who are watching, you're maybe like soon to graduate or you're even in the industry, like we live in a society where perception is reality. My boss says that all the time. If you're listening. But essentially, he says that all the time whereby perception is reality. Now, why am I saying this? If you come off as maybe not as confident when you're in interviews or speaking with people or even talking about your degree, I know people. I remember when I was still in college, I went for like a networking event. I think it was at like Morgan Stanley, and the person who was like one of the head speakers, I think the person majored in music or something. I was like, how? Like, cause me, I know I'm trying to get internships and all of these things, and I know how challenging it is. And they'll be like specific to like what major you have to have. Okay, what am I saying? Essentially, I'm saying that how you, even if you have a liberal arts degree or whatever your degree is, you have to be confident in your abilities. If you're not confident, if you don't sound like you know what it is that you're doing, people are highly likely to take advantage of you. So if you're in, undergrad or you're even working, looking for a job, maybe you're one of the people like struggling to find jobs in your major or whatnot, like make sure when you go on those interviews, you're confident. Make sure even how you dress. I mean, I don't know if I'm the right person to speak on this because sometimes I be dressing down. I don't really be doing too. You look surprised. No, but essentially, like, I'm not always all 10 out of 10 all the time. Like, sometimes I'm just going with the flow. But essentially, how you even dress also matters. So that's my piece on what you've said, Esther.
Okay. Back to your question. I think the hardest thing for me, like going into this whole adulting world, was probably time management. Like trying to basically balance work and then also balancing the things that I love as well as my future goals and seeing how I can get to my future goals in a way where I'm not just putting it on the back burner. Because I feel like with work and, especially working in finance, like you don't really have the flexibility to like pour into your hobbies and pour into your skills as much. So it's like I feel like you're like over expanding yourself to, you know, pour into different things, whether it be family, social life, even yourself, making time for yourself. That was something that took me a while to like get into a good groove where I can actually, you know, do everything all at once. And even now it's still a struggle. Like I have to be intentional about the things that I'm doing. So if I'm going to make time for my friends, okay, we're going to put it on the calendar. We're going to do this next month, you know, around this time, and I get a heads up on what we're trying to do. So I'll definitely say that, like, because you're coming out of college, like in college, I feel like we have so much time. We have so much time for ourselves, so much time for just being on the phone all the time, calling people
Oh,
that
even
you
in
loved and
college, you feel
everything.
like, oh, you don't have time.
Exactly.
And then when you graduate, it's like,
Where's time?
oh.
You really don't have time.
Exactly.
And then sometimes, like, also, like, I feel like in the phase that we're in, where, like, okay, fine, you're done with college, you're working. After a couple of years, people expect you, okay, get married.
Exactly.
And it's like, having to, I don't know. Me, I honestly just think that but in the end, you're still supposed to make time to, like, enjoy yourself, enjoy your 20s, go out. And like you said, like,
Socialize.
time management is very hard to, like, balance your day to day, your career, even
School.
me doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, see, maybe this is my opportunity to rant, but I work in finance as well, like the two of you, long hours. Then you now also want to, you know, maybe further your education. Like some people get their masters. Now you have to do that. You have to do a master's. But then even if you're in a finance job, right, you might also have extra like hobbies and things that you also want to develop. And for me, like it's my podcast. Also, there's like other like businesses I'd like to, you know, I'll probably work on in the future. But like juggling all of that. And the reason you have to like do all of these things is, again, for people who work in the finance industry, like there's layoffs. So you have to diversify your income.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole adulting thing comes in, because when you were younger, you didn't have to worry about rent or food or all of these things. But guess what? Now you're solely responsible for yourself. Nobody's going to say, oh, come and take this $1,000. Just enjoy yourself. You know, as a child, like you go to like maybe a family friend's house. I don't know how it was for you guys, but they'll give you money. Your parents will ask you, have you eaten like 6 times in a day? You're not stressed. Now, if you don't cook for yourself, there's no food. Like, I don't know. It's the ghetto. It's the ghetto. And then there's just some things that will just shock you. My own was easy pass. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty.
How often do you go through the toll?
Yo, so let me give you guys a story.
Okay.
I work in New York. Well, I don't want people to know where I work, but essentially, the distance between where I live to where I work is about an hour drive because it's within 2 states. Now, I've had to, I guess, move closer to like where I work or whatnot. But essentially, I had to drive through the tolls every single day. So I have like the tag in my car that like reads when you drive, which is great. But then, I don't know. I feel like it's a scamming thing that New Jersey is trying to do. But essentially, if you, based off how much you drive, they will determine how much to take out of your account. But they never let the amount in your account finish until they withdraw. But essentially, they were just withdrawing too much. I was just like, how am I spending this much? So I was just like, you know what? I wouldn't do the automatic refill. I'll refill myself. Long story short, for some reason, my tag was not reading. And lo and behold, I got home. I got Easy Pass tickets. Actually, sorry. I moved from my old apartment to a different apartment. Long story short, I realized I had like 2,000 in Easy Pass to pay. But
Jesus.
guess how much? Wait, but guess how much? In tolls, I so basically in going back and forth, I basically owed $40. How did $40? Why are they saying I owe $2,000 from $40?
Did you pay it?
That one.
The
We'll not
silence
talk
is
about that on the
deafening.
video. We'll talk about that later. But I was just like,
New Jersey, we have to get.
but those
back
are the
to,
things that I feel like shocks you with like,
The
I
random
don't know,
expenses.
the random things or like
The random tire popping on a random day.
for real, and like you just have to figure it out. But me, my whole adulting thing is just easy pass because I think it's a scam. I don't know how they. I don't. I feel like they're just scamming us in broad daylight. That was my experience.
That one came deep.
Yeah,
They got
That one bothered her.
yeah,
That was her final show. That was her 13th reason.
for real. There's some reasons why.
they got her.
No, but is it those? Also, in adulting, have you guys found out that you actually have to start caring about the government and voting and who's going to win, who's not going to win, what are their policies, because you start to understand how their policies actually have an impact on your life. Like when I was young, I did not care if Trump wins or if Biden wins, even in Nigeria too. Like I don't know if you guys followed the whole Nigerian. Me and Esther had the whole debate on this. But I just feel like as an adult, those are things that you have to now be concerned about. It's not just about you, but you're like, okay, these policies, how are they going to impact? Maybe if I want to get married or my kids, or like, should we live in this state versus this state? Because this state has also in America, different states operate like. They have their own different rules and regulations. So, actually, let's still dive back in the whole like election or whatnot. So, for you guys, how's that experience been? Are you guys like still don't care or?
I don't think I was ever at a point where I didn't care, but I'm more at a point where I'm very pessimistic about both sides. And where we're going and like the options that are given to me, right? So I think when I was younger, you know, Obama's running and you'd be like, oh yeah, Obama, the Democrats, the liberal, like, you know, they have my issues at heart. And now that I'm older, I'm like, they really don't. Like, you know, this party's trash. And not to say that the Republicans are great either, like they're both trash. And I'm sitting here like, wow, we're in a two-party system and I have two bad options. What do I do as an adult now that I have to vote? So I think that's where I am. I think I've always cared, but now I'm just a little bit more pessimistic about the system that I'm in right now.
Like, in terms of like, what about like taxes? Having to file your taxes. Why, guys?
I say, you know what it is for me. I try not to let the politics, stress me out too much, because like at the end of the day, everything is up to God. So
True.
I feel like all these, man-made and judicial systems and everything that's going on, like, yes, it does have an impact on us, but at the end of the day, I feel like somebody like me, I feel like, personally speaking, I'm not making that big of a change, and maybe that is a pessimistic view, especially nowadays.
Maybe I'm just so passionate about these things.
Maybe, I like to keep my political views to myself, because, some people, oh, you're black, like you're saying you have to be a Democrat, or you're this, you have to be this. Like,
oh, no.
I feel like politics is very nuanced.
Okay, so since all three of us are Nigerians, what about Nigerian politics?
We're not, so me specifically, I'm Nigerian American. I feel like specifically I can't honestly relate unless I live there. Like, so I don't want to speak on something that, I don't have the lived experiences, or
That's
just,
a good answer.
The background.
It's like, let me go say something for people come on the internet.
Even that. No, not even that. Because I'm not going to speak on something I don't know. Like, I feel like that's something as well that needs to be guided on, because there's a lot of things that the media can manipulate, though. The media can manipulate a lot of things, and there's things that are pushed to us, and we just have to take it in.
So what are your... Okay, so I guess you guys don't want to talk about... So, did you guys follow
I stay informed about Nigerian politics.
And the election that just passed, too.
Yeah, just as much as I stay informed about American politics. Even if I'm not there, I know that, my money goes there. So, like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know about, like, the Naira losing value as someone that wants to have, like, businesses. And someone that works in finance and, like, long-term wants to do, like, investing in Nigeria. Like, I'll stay up to date. I hate when Nigerians in Nigeria say, like, like, people shouldn't have an opinion on Nigeria unless they're, like, actually living there.
When they say that. I see the comments. I grew up in Nigeria,
I see it all the time. They're like, if you're not in Nigeria, like, don't put mouth to this matter. And I'm just like, as much money... Like, I will speak as much money as I send back. Like, I will be there. Just because I'm not there doesn't mean
Doesn't
I don't
mean,
have an opinion.
yeah.
Because in the election, if I go buy a flight and I go, I can vote. So
Yeah,
if
because
I'm
you're still a
eligible, I'm
citizen.
still a citizen. So like I should have an
Yeah.
opinion on matters there. So
True,
No,
true.
that's true. No, I definitely will say staying informed. Like, I think everybody should stay informed on all politics that's happening worldwide because, things affect all of us within the diaspora, not
For
just
real.
like, Nigerian
No,
or
that's Nigeria.
black people in general. So,
yeah.
I definitely will say being informed, but maybe I'm just more so pessimistic because what I've seen in history and every time there's a change that's about to happen or things that are going to happen, especially in regards to, good leaders coming into power, specifically in Africa, like there's been history and patterns of when a leader comes in with like positive intentions to build up a country, like negative things happen based on like foreign powers. So I just feel like, personally speaking, maybe I do have a pessimistic view on all the politics and all these things that happen because I feel like
But do you have
we're
that view
living
so
in
you're
like
just not
a
stressed?
puppet like society. I feel like
Yeah.
there's just things that are going behind the scenes that we honestly can't control. We're just here and
Yeah.
it's all up to God. I'm
That's
not gonna
true.
lie.
Like
okay.
people that like sit there and watch like CNN all day,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like either like anti-Trump or anti-Biden,
Exactly.
and they're so emotionally involved in the political issues, and it's just like you're so wrapped up in things that you can't control.
For real.
Um,
And you don't even know if the media is lying to you.
And you
Thank
don't know
you.
the media, especially if you're only watching one form of media. So I know people that like
Exactly.
only watch CNN or they're only watching Fox
Fox.
News. So you're only
Tucker
going to get
Carlson.
one side
Of
it.
a
And so you're
story.
not really informed about like the issue. You're not knowing like other things that you should know about. You're also not knowing about like the world events that we have a hand in. So like the media cycle is, they will have you going down a tunnel and just being focused on one issue, and you're missing so much.
Yeah.
You're missing so much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, at least for me, it's not like I was oblivious to, like, the political system or whatnot. Like, I knew what was happening. I just didn't understand how what was happening affected my life until I got older and I started to file my taxes and or even, like, certain government politics, how it would have impact my day to day. And these are things that you kind of would just, you just have to come on board. It's like you're forced to come on board and learn because one way or another it affects you. So you can't just be, oblivious or what's the other word? Kind of ignorant. Yeah, you can just act ignorant because it affects you. It affects your day to day. I know when I was a child, like my uncle would be watching the news, and I'm just like, this is just boring. Like, if it's not, I mean, some news are more fun. But I'm just like, I don't want to sit here watching the news every day. Can we watch a movie? Can we watch a comedy? I just didn't get it, and now I'm the same person who'll be here. What's going on?
Wall Street Journal, 7 a.m.
Or reading articles like, wow, this is happening.
Bloomberg at 7 a.m.
For real.
Even in our line of work, we have to stay informed because like a lot of the things that are happening affect the market, right?
For real.
So it's just like, like what is the Fed doing? How does that affect our line of business? So.
Yeah, not even like even all the geopolitical issues that are happening as well, like things that happen, like for example the Russia-Ukraine conflicts, like
Yeah.
a lot of these things affect the market. So like you're saying, we do have to be in touch, but I don't know. I just feel maybe it's just me personally speaking. I just feel like we live in a puppet society where it's just chess and things that are going on behind the scenes. But I definitely think we should stay informed and also be prayerful and be spiritual.
I love our group. Like, you guys, we literally prayed before this session.
As we should.
Oh my God. All right. So, the other thing I have also still on this whole adulting thing is friendships. I mean, friendships. As a child, you experience it. As an adult, you experience it. It's not just within that whole adulthood bracket, but I mean, in your 20s, you're gonna have friends who get married, friends who get pregnant, friends who get famous, or maybe they become social media influencers, their life changes or whatnot. My point is, there's so much that happens within your 20s. I feel like people's 20s, people are getting married, people are having kids. people are moving from states, like we said. Somebody gets a job maybe in Dallas. Like you had to move from New York to Dallas for your,
I had to move to Salt Lake City.
and then Dallas.
And then in Dallas, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like see that, like, you had to move. Maybe you have like friends in Brooklyn or whatnot. It's like there's just all these changes intentionally that happen. So it's like, I mean, for you who moved from, I guess, New York to Salt Lake and then to Dallas, like that whole transition, like how was that for you? I guess.
It was okay, right? So I went to school in the UK.
Oh.
So originally I was in Brooklyn, and I went from Brooklyn to the UK to study. And before moving to the UK, I know that there was a lot of anxiety on my part, just being like, okay, I'm going to another country. I don't know anyone. I'm leaving not only my family but also like my friends. How do I set up a new social circle like on some place that I've never lived before? And that's probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had, because like I was really outside of my comfort zone. Like it's different, especially when you're like from New York, to go to another country. Like London is similar to New York, but it's not New York. And then the other cities in the UK can't compare to New York at all. So it's like, how do I start over? And I mean, the cultures are similar, the UK and America, but it's me being like a true American, going to a place and not being in a place where and with people that have liked experiences, right? So like coming to America and you're dealing with like our racism is different from like racism in the UK. Okay.
How's racism in the UK? I'm actually curious.
It's different. So the way we relate, what I noticed, like the way we relate to races here is different because we have safe spaces, right? So me growing up in Brooklyn, in my neighborhood, like in Bed-Stuy and East Flatbush, there were no white people around. Like I went to a private school where the teachers were black, the owners of the school were black, all the students were black. Like I never had to deal with white people. If I wanted to go to a university, a good school here, I could have gone to an all black school, like a historically black
gone to like Howard or.
They don't have those there.
Okay.
They don't have those kind of spaces, And you're from New York too, so when we go out, we go to the clubs. There's spots you don't see any white people there. Like we have our spots. Or even I've been to places in the city where the top floor would be black and the bottom floor they play like white music and white people would be there. They don't have those kind of spaces. Maybe they'll have like a special night like every 2 weeks, but the way that we have community here, they don't have that community here, right? And also a lot of the black Americans in the States, they've been here for generations, right? A lot of them, like descendants of slaves and things like that. A lot of the black people in the UK are like first, second generation. And they're not able, for me, what I noticed, they're not able to pick up on microaggressions.
So first, second generation, what does that mean? Like they moved from
like
their
maybe,
country?
Maybe they
they're
came from
immigrants.
Nigeria,
Oh,
right?
okay,
like parents
or their parents came.
Okay.
They don't have that long history of like dealing with white people. Because like in America, like I know when you're racist. We always talk about racism. Like my grandpa would talk about like what he experienced in the Jim Crow era and things like that. So when I notice certain things, it triggers. But if you're coming to a place where you don't have that history behind you, and you're coming, say, from Nigeria, like the way a Nigerian will see racism, and the way a Nigerian that came straight from Nigeria versus me that lived in America and like have people in my family like talk about
like
it.
your background.
I pick up on it more easily. I'm like, that's a microaggression. Like, don't let her touch your hair. Like, But people be like, no, they're just curious. And me, I'm like, no, that's racism. Like, they're doing it for a certain reason. So the way they relate to race is different in the UK versus how we relate to race in America.
Interesting, because I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember this time where Adele she made a post. Do you remember?
The carnival.
Yeah.
She had the band do and the Jamaican flag.
And people came for her, and I feel like we're in controversial waters right now because of what I'm about to say. I don't know if it's controversial. You guys don't judge me. I can always learn. But essentially, like so people in the UK weren't as aggressive when they saw that. To them, it was
cultural appreciation, basically.
Yes. I don't know if that's how, but it wasn't. Maybe some people disagreed. I can't speak for everybody in the UK, and I understand. Some people, basically, they weren't as offended. But when people in the US saw that, a lot of noise was raised on the issue. So, I guess my question here is, if someone, because again, like, but I feel like for us, I feel like, okay, let's use black women, right? We have weaves and all of that, right? White women can have, I guess, can braid their hair or whatnot. But in situations where they do like the popular hairstyles that we do, should we necessarily take that as appropriation? Or is that maybe them just admiring the hairstyle? What do you guys think?
I don't know. It's like it's complex. Like, I feel like one example is like Chet Hanks. I don't know
Like,
if you
when is
know.
it really appropriate? Because I think it's appropriation when you,
I feel like appropriation is like Chet Hanks. Like, I don't know if you guys
it's like
know
when you do it, but
Chet
you
Hanks.
don't.
He's Tom Hanks' son. Like,
Oh yeah,
he would
yeah,
do a
chat,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
like the
The
Jamaican
Jamaican accents
accents
and
and
all.
stuff
Oh,
like
that
that.
guy.
But you
I
have
think
to
he said
understand
in the
he's
UK.
Tom Hanks' son. Like, we all know who Tom Hanks is. Like, this is a, an American actor. Like, he's not really like from Jamaica or has roots in Jamaica. So it's just like, situations like that is different if you're like raised in a certain country, like raised in that culture, raised in the the environment and the community, versus like you're born in the States, like people know who your dad is, and then you talking about some bumbleclot, like things like that. That's kind of crazy to me. But I don't know, it's like it's very nuanced now, because when you say things like, for example, like Bad Baby, like people say that she does a lot of like, she tries to like emulate black women, and like she tries to put on this, like this ghetto front, as if like that's how we act and things. And it's complex, because there's some people where it's genuinely they're appreciating our culture, and like the only way they know how to show that appreciation is by like emulating what we do. But then it's also the fact that
And then
you
some
don't
people
have
who just
to,
still.
like it doesn't have to be, because for us, like we have to act the way that we do. Like, we get braids for protective styling, like we do our hair in certain ways for reasons, versus like just doing it as a trend and then reverting back to yours. I just feel like that's
Oh,
where
yeah,
the issue
that's
is.
very
Like,
true. Because even when we have our weaves on, like,
it's for protective reasons.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not a black woman, but I think it's a few things, right? So like when black women do things like wear weaves, so like you mentioned, it's a protective style, but it's also like there's a different standard, and they're expected to meet that standard, right? So like you guys work in corporate America, so you already know like there's a certain look, and sometimes certain things aren't deemed as professional, so
That's true.
they might have to like conform to these Eurocentric, beauty standards.
Exactly.
Sometimes, or maybe sometimes that's just your preference, and you can do that.
No, I think that first off, some of these styles, some are protective, but some actually damage your hair. Like, relaxer is not the best thing for your hair. I mean, I'm not saying don't use relaxer if you want to. But my point is, some of these, I guess, Eurocentric beauty standards aren't necessarily for black women. I know I had an episode where I briefly touched on this, where I talked about like how hair in America is different from how hair is in Nigeria, and how like they just passed, it's really not long ago, but a Crown Act that basically lets you wear your natural hair to work. And that's insane. So I guess we've had to do something not by choice. It was more like we had to, essentially. Okay.
Assimilate. No, I agree. There's actually a Forbes article that came out like a couple of weeks ago, and it talked about black women, and like especially specifically in corporate, how like, for example, we have to do like the the sew-ins, to leave out the straightening our hair, because there's a specific look, like coming into the corporate, world with the bust down lace front and some baby hairs is not really as acceptable as coming in with like, as coming in with the, leave out the sewing or the silk press. Like, I feel like you were saying, it goes back to the Eurocentric standards, whereas like, I feel like we have to reclaim ourselves, where we should feel like we could go in with the twist out and the
I mean, I go in with the twist with my natural hair.
Like, I
and
feel
the
like we need to
puff.
reclaim it, like you were saying. So it's gonna take some time, and I feel like it's definitely generational trauma and history that's like put us in the place we're in. And also these spaces, like, they were never accepting at a point of us coming in looking like ourselves. Like, I think they used to think like our hair was like unkempt or something, where it's like,
It's just the
that's just us.
pattern. I remember, like, literally, like, I know that we're on. Basically, I was talking to this girl, right? I met her in school, and she was going for an interview, and she was losing her. This is recent. This is not even like some years, like maybe 2 months ago. She was losing her braids, and I was like, "Girl, your braids are still neat. Why are you losing your braids?" And she was like, "Oh, she has an interview." And then she was like, basically, she has an interview, so she's taking out her braids so she can put on a weave for the interview. And I was like, why? And she was like, girl, like, you know that things aren't fair or equal or whatnot. And me, I was like, me, I'll go with my braids. But she was like, no, you do the weave. You get a job. After some months, you not start, like introducing yourself. And so the reason I'm sharing this story is it looks like, we're just saying what we're saying, but it's like, oh, maybe this happened like some years ago, but you'd be surprised that these things still happen now, and some people actually like, are taking these measures, just to secure certain positions as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like corporate has like a certain look that they want, and some people do deviate from that look, but I think that a lot of people are conscious of the fact that there's a look and they want to play that game. I know when I did my interviews, I shaved off my beard.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and I was pissed, but I got the job. I got the job. Now I'm like, I could grow it back, but
true. I mean, so I guess maybe it's just a situation where you just have to do what you gotta do. Yeah. It's not necessarily, because you can think of it like, if that's the corporate brand, well, you just have to fit into the brand if that's where you want to be. You can't maybe force. You can
always work for a tech company and do your red hair. And
it's true. It's true. You can always. Exactly. And even like in some corporations, like you have to wear like maybe like black, navy blue, or gray. So my point is, are we saying that maybe you're not necessarily, maybe if you want to be in some spaces, then you have to, I guess, adapt to what's already there? It's a tricky one. Because if you think about it, it's like you're changing your whole, like, things like your hair is like,
that's your identity.
That's
your identity. Yeah.
That's like that's doing too much, know?
I think it's always good to...
Or like saying, oh, because I know like in Nigeria's, you know how you have racism here. Nigeria is somewhat, well, Nigeria is tribalist. They're tribalistic. Tribalism. And also colorism. Exactly. if you're lighter skinned, I feel like sometimes you might be favored over maybe someone who's darker skinned, and I think that also stems from like the inferiority complex, but we'll get into all of that. But my point is, wait, what was I trying to say? Good, I lost my train of thought.
You were mentioning how like you're losing yourself when you're
exactly. So I was trying to say, like, imagine if you're trying to get a banking job in Nigeria, maybe they would favor someone who's lighter skin, and now you start to bleach your skin so you can be lighter. Like, at that point, it's doing too much. And I think that's where the whole maybe even Crown Act comes from. Because certain things, it's like, we're changing too much of ourselves. Like, we're changing too much. Like, I understand that, okay, to be in this space, I need to have a degree. I need to be able to speak properly. And all of this is like, those attributes that are fine. But when it comes to things that...
Yeah, I think it's all literally, it stems back to colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like worldwide, this is not something that is, just specific to Nigeria, like the States. I feel like anywhere you go, specifically being a person of color, like I feel like most people feel like they have to assimilate to like Western powers or like Western, standards of, beauty, because that's what we've all seen. Like, whether it be in Nigeria's history, like we're relatively young in terms of being a country. Like, we still to this day have the effects of, colonialism and imperialism in our country ingrained. So it's just like not just
But I
Nigeria,
think
but
it's getting
Jamaica.
better now too.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think it's getting better.
How many times do you go to work and you see someone with dreads?
Yeah, like
I
till
see
this
people
day.
with dreads.
Oh,
So.
go to a
Go to
Nigerian bank
Nigeria.
and see someone with dreads.
Go to Nigeria.
No, but in Nigeria, not.
It's the silence.
No. But also, I left Nigeria when I was, how old was I? Like 16. So maybe I'm a little out of touch. But there's people in Nigeria that have dreads.
There's no.
Yeah,
I
but
feel
they're
like
not the main.
they're not the main. I feel like there's definitely going to be like the one-off instances of people that are.
But in Nigeria,
against
not
the
a lot of
specific
people have
image.
like keep dreads.
Because of colonialism.
cut it off.
But there's a reason why.
There's
they
a reason
don't.
why it goes back to the past trauma.
No, but
and
again, there's
colonialism
in
about-
Nigeria, like you don't have to have weaves in the bank. You don't have to. You can go into work in cornrows if you want to. There's
that's
people who don't
true.
use
You
any
can.
extensions on
No,
their
that's
hair.
true.
Okay.
But why do you think the reason that Africans in general, not just Nigerians, Africans in general see dreadlocks as unkept because of colonialism, because of what English people that came to our land told us that, hey, our hair, like, that's not a good look. Like, you got to understand that. I feel like we're all traumatized from, the effects of slavery, the effects of colonialism, like we were saying, like
That's
not
true.
just
Yeah,
Nigeria,
right.
India, like a lot of these countries, like even the Caribbean,
Yeah,
till
India,
this
like,
day, like
bleaching is actually like rampant.
like a lot of these things it's not just specific to
I think
Africa,
even-
it's specific to so many different countries where it's like we're all victims of, imperialism and capitalism, unfortunately. And we all try to like live by these Eurocentric standards or these Western standards. Whereas like before that, we were our own civilizations. Like we were
True.
our own countries. We didn't care to speak English. Like the
You
fact
know
that
what-
Nigeria's official language, or I think it's English or
It's
something.
English,
Like
yeah.
that's crazy.
But if you think about it too, the reason why, okay, so the central language in Nigeria is English. But when you think about it too, it's like, what other language could they all speak? Because Nigeria is literally made up of, there's multiple tribes, more than the three
But
tribes I'm
Nigeria
about
is
to
like,
mention.
But why?
is that
Nigeria
the
was
language that everyone
Nigeria because of
No, because I
foreign
feel like-
power coming in. and pushing
Exactly,
us all
I'm
together
putting it together.
when it shouldn't have been that.
It
We
shouldn't
all
have
could
been that.
been
Because
our separate
there's
tribes,
no-
our separate people.
Exactly.
Like, come on, like we could have been
No,
saying
but
they were
yo,
like,
but
come on, like-
if they didn't put Nigeria together, then I would be, because if you think about it, right, the Yoruba, because I was watching this documentary on Netflix about the whole Yoruba empire and whatnot, and I also learned that so in Nigeria, if you go to school in Nigeria, you learn. I think depending on the state that you're in, but I grew up in Lagos, so I went to, and Lagos is by, I guess in terms of tribe, is a Yoruba land. So you have to, I think it's required that all schools, you have to learn Yoruba language. But there's other schools that offer Igbo, Hausa, and maybe some other languages. But my school, you're required to take Yoruba and French. So in your Yoruba class, of course, you learn about like the history of Yoruba and whatnot. But long story short, I watched this documentary on Netflix, and essentially, the Yoruba Empire extends to, I think even Togo. But essentially, the reason, because there's some other countries close to, I guess, some of the Yoruba states that speak some like dialect of Yoruba. So it's like, so if you think about it, it's like, well, these people should be within the same group because, but my point is, I'm agreeing with you guys' point of like, them just taking like some parts together and putting it together. Because again, there's three major languages. Like, I don't understand Igbo. Igbo people might not understand Yoruba. There's Hausa people. The only one language Mowa. But the only one, but you see, because they've put everyone together, of course you learn some of another tribe's language and whatnot. But even within just Yoruba, there's different like dialects of Yoruba. My dad speaks Efun. I mean, I only understand the general Yoruba, but there's also like different types as well. So my point is, what other language would they be able to speak? Because everybody speaks all different languages.
But they should have. That's the thing.
It would have happened
colonialism.
eventually.
I guess they
It
should
wouldn't
have,
have
maybe after colonial rule, They should have
But it should have never been
divided.
colonial
It should have
rule.
never
It
been
should
like
have. We should
that.
have just been
Yeah.
our own things. Because even like you were saying,
And
there's
also
Cameroonian Igbos. There's people in Cameroon that are
Yeah.
Igbo, that speak Igbo, that are literally the same culture but different dialects, but they're just in Cameroon. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many of us spread out. Like, even Fulanis. There's Fulanis in
Yeah.
Nigeria,
This Fulani in
Ghana,
Nigeria.
Gambia, everywhere.
For
Like,
real.
so I feel like they literally took Bantu speaking people, which is the majority of Africa, and just combined us into one, cut out Africa and say, hey, okay, y'all gonna go here, stay there. Like, that causes a lot of tensions because you have people that don't understand each other. You have people that have different cultures, like, that are now being forced to, like, just live under
together.
one government.
They
one
have
rule,
different
like,
characters, different
come
traits.
on.
Like, imagine Nigeria is so. Again, that's why tribalism is a thing, because there's one tribe favoring their people over another people, and it's like hard to like have this whole one Nigeria. Although they've been like doing campaigns and saying we are one, like all. But even we can even see the whole tribalism thing in terms of the last election in Nigeria that happened, where we had a Igbo man running and a Yoruba man, and for some people it became a whole tribalistic war where they wanted their own person to be in power versus them actually looking at, okay, who's the best candidate to rule, So I know we went on a whole tangent.
So you don't think the best person won?
Hey, trying to get my full views on the internet. I'm not going to speak on Nigerian elections because Nigerian rulers will not embarrass me. Because people who were actively campaigning for some some of the candidates, now they're crying. So I will just, and also anytime I get into I've not had a lot of conversations about the Nigerian election. I know if me and Esther have had this.
I
No,
just
she's
keep my
acting
mouth
all.
quiet.
I don't know what's going on.
I just keep my mouth quiet. Politics will get you into trouble. You say how you
But
feel
yeah,
these
I'll
days.
say that all I would say is Nigeria's corrupt, and I think that when it comes to elections or whatnot, our focus should mostly be on who we think is best to rule and not be tribalistic in how we choose to do things,
Do you
because
think
in the
people buy
end
votes?
Nigeria is what it is. I don't think that we're going to say, okay, scatter the whole Nigeria as a country and let's redivide.
There are people that believe that's going to happen.
There
See,
are people.
it might have to. I don't know if we should just look. I don't know what the right step is, because even when it comes, like when I looked deeper into Nigeria, even how it's divided, it was put together to not work. It doesn't make sense. Like, the north is literally the majority of the country. They have the most land. Like, how? But then the thing is, the north. Yeah, it looks like I'm coming for northerners. Let me just end my case. Let me end my case here. But essentially, I just think the structure is just bad.
Get you.
My God.
Should
That's
leave in
mean.
comments.
No,
That
yes,
wasn't
they
mean.
are.
I just
They-
didn't know.
No, they're on TikTok.
You know this, my algorithm doesn't work, so I get a lot of Igbo TikToks, if anything.
Oh, no. Outside people on TikTok. So, but the thing is that
group is on
I feel
TikTok.
like outside people aren't as. I think they're different, but I think also it's part of your culture too. No, but there's Northerners. You will find Northerners on
There's
the
also people in
internet.
Ghana too. I feel like we're all everywhere. Like, every tribe is everywhere. We all, came from one.
But I will say this. I want Nigeria to work.
Period.
What God
Yes, we
can't
want
do
Nigeria
doesn't
to work.
exist.
Please, can we
Period.
just move forward? I feel like, but the thing is, although the structure is put together in a way that I guess wouldn't work, but if you think about it, like, corporations are trying to be more diverse. They want people of color working in the companies. I know some people disagree. I think it's just tokenism or whatnot, but because when you looked at me, but essentially, I think that when you have different people from different walks of life put together with different thought process, of course, there might be disagreements or whatnot, but I think it's better in the end. I think
Statistics prove that diversity.
diversity is better. So I think that the reason, and it could also even be more the reason why Nigeria is always talked about I'm not saying other African countries aren't great. Other African countries are great and nice and whatnot. But I feel like they always come for Nigerians that we always make too much noise and whatnot. But I think it could also be attributed to the diversity. They came for us. But
they preyed on our
Super
downfall.
Eagles.
You know what? I don't think diversity is an issue. I think it's an issue of equity, right? So like, it's a country that has many different tribes and many different languages, so it's really diverse. But I think the issues that come up about is because other tribes feel like policies aren't in their favor, certain things are being put in place to favor certain people. So I think that is the issue. I think if you want to move forward,
But what
you need to
things
focus on
though?
equity.
We can say the topic.
I don't. I mean,
He's looking at me like I feel like you're about
I mean,
to.
no, I'm just
I
saying.
feel
Wait,
like
are all the seaports open? Are they open on the different regions?
No.
Does the Southeast
feel
get
like-
as much
wow.
resources
Southeast
as the
does
South?
not, and this is why me and
don't come
Megan
for
our
me. Or is it
debates-
because I'm Yoruba?
No, it's not that at all. I love my Yoruba people.
No. I said that no, because I said because Mel was like,
It's
oh, what are they?
statistics.
And then I feel I thought about it in my head, and I was like, wow. I feel like you both of you are looking at me like that's the privilege.
No, but I'm.
That's the privilege creeping in.
No, but I'm just asking.
But I'm
right?
not
So-
outside. I was looking at the most.
No, but I'm just asking. Like, it's for the people listening to think about. Like, are the resources being divided equally, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And is it an equitable nation for all the tribes? If someone from a different tribe runs for president, are people going to be as supportive and look at them based on their merit, or are they not going to vote for them because they are of a certain tribe? So that's for
But
people,
don't you think
why
that's
people look-
attributed to?
I'm just looking.
but that's for people to look inside themselves and like actually
Yeah,
think,
that's
like,
true.
is it all equitable?
Yeah.
It's definitely a diverse country, but is it equitable?
We'll have another topic on tribalism in Nigeria just as a whole
back to
because
adulting.
You should do an episode on.
we wanted to do it. Even Esther's supposed to be on that episode because
Yeah,
this girl
it
made me
gets
go
to
read
me,
articles
man.
upon articles
Yeah, because she was
on
talking about
Biafra war.
and she was just talking. Like, I just said, babes, go do your research, please. Because
No. But see,
it's
let me
different.
be honest. Let me be.
That's a trigger word.
Like, that's a trigger word.
No, I feel
And,
like
you know, you have
I feel
people's
like we've
parents
caused-
that grew up in
we've
this.
caused-
Like, come on,
we've
babes.
caused-
Like, I said,
Let me
please
tell.
do
I
your
didn't even say
research.
anything. Okay, let me tell you what happened.
No, it
Let-
just came from a privilege.
My daddy's gonna be watching this.
Yeah, my parents will watch this, so just
My
say,
parents are-
my parents will watch this, so be
Oh, yeah,
guided.
sorry. Okay. This is not even a funny thing, but I'm gonna have an episode on that. But the reason why I've not even had an episode on it because I cannot find somebody with Hausa to come and speak for the Hausa people. But
Let's say something.
don't say what you're about to say. But
I just feel like there aren't a lot of houses in America.
okay, maybe. Oh, I think them maybe. Yeah,
I don't
know.
see them.
They're more quiet.
They're quiet.
Yeah, they're quieter people. Even yeah. Okay. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say that
just think we
there
should
is
read
my
our textbooks.
understanding of the Biafra war, and my understanding of the war is
Just
very
be careful.
much.
You don't want to get canceled. The Igbos will enter your comments.
No, but honestly, right? I don't even mind if the Igbos enter my comment section
I mind.
because
I mind.
no, because see, I feel like we're at a point where like if you don't have difficult conversations, there's really not going to be a way to move forward because the entire country needs to understand that okay, is this some people don't understand what the problem is. It's like you're telling me this is the story, this is how it impacted my dad, my mom, my grandparents, etc. The other people on the other side don't understand the story the way you're telling the story because they have a different version of that story and they will stick on that different version of the story until they die. So what am I trying to say? If we're trying to say this country needs to move forward and we understand our problem is literally tribalism, if we're not having these conversations, then no problem will be solved.
But does everyone want it to move forward?
That's
But-
the one.
I don't
Clock
think,
it.
And that was like that's the debate.
I I don't believe.
No, because some people want Biafra.
So
Yeah.
I don't think we're at a point where
Yeah.
it's universally thought that we should
It's
just
still
move
fresh.
forward. I think there's wounds that people are still dealing
Yeah,
with,
it's still
and
Yeah.
but
Agreed.
until
Agreed.
those are addressed, I don't think that we'll be in a
Yeah.
point to move forward. For some
Exactly,
people.
but we can start addressing
But you have to
these
understand it's still
things
fresh.
by
Like a lot
this
of people
type
that
of.
lived within that time frame, they're still alive. Like these are people that are our parents' age, like our grandparents' age. They're still
But
alive,
you don't even
and they were
think that
born and
there's
they
people
lived through these
who
things.
probably. Let me shut up. Thierry and Esther wants to eat my head.
Not even, not even. I just think we all.
But I will like to say that
Okay.
I'm optimistic about Nigeria, and I really want
Yeah.
Nigeria to work regardless
Period.
of anything else.
Yeah.
Period. Regardless
Yeah.
of tribes, you know I love y'all.
Yeah.
Even when we get into
I
our
love
little
my
spats
Igbos.
and
You know-
everything, you know you're my girl regardless. So.
Yeah, and also like the whole
Per.
tribalism thing. Like once you come over here, that's a dead point.
Yeah.
No, but the
Maybe-
thing is, I even feel like I started to, in my opinion, for somebody who grew up in Nigeria, I don't know how it is for some, because some people grew up in like maybe a different state. Me, I grew up in Lagos. I went to schools. I had Igbo people in my class, Yoruba people in my class. I even had a Hausa friend in my class. So when you say Hausa friend on the, I'm like, I have friends.
Can you
on
marry
the
Igbo?
internet.
The silence.
Yeah, ask. You know what?
The
Currently,
silence.
my man's is
She's been saying that all day.
my man's.
my man.
No, I'm cutting this part out. Ain't nobody gotta know that.
No, we're
No,
not.
but Chinri, do I need to answer that question? Can I don't think that.
What's the preference of your family? The preference is
What?
obviously.
But that's a good. If you can't answer it, then what does that say?
Exactly.
It says a lot as well. I'll
Exactly.
say I'm not going to disregard the fact that. See, let me tell you how my parents are. I think my parents will be fine because again, it's who you love. I don't think that's like, but I don't think they're like never. We will take you to this song is not that deep. They would prefer. I feel like my parents' preference. My parents' preference is marry a Yoruba man because they just think that maybe
It's
it'll
easier.
work better, it's easier or whatnot. But if I do meet a good Igbo man, I don't think they'll be like never ever faint. I know my daddy's best friend's daughter married an Igbo man. That was like my first intertribal wedding that I went for. Also, we have very nice Igbo neighbors that live next to me when growing up. My point is, I have different beliefs with somebody but still coexist. Like, because I'm Christian, does that mean that I'm going to be
Anti-Muslim
homophobic or something? No. Does that make sense?
But most, never mind.
I don't think.
But that's a reason
Wow.
why people are though.
What?
That's
We're really saying a lot today.
But that's the reason why
I
people
feel
are.
a shout out to our other tribes in Nigeria. I feel like we always talk about Igbo,
Yoruba and Hausa.
Hausa.
How
Our
do those
Edo
people feel?
That's
Our
the
Edo
How do
people-
they feel?
But that's the
thing.
point. They
Like,
get
we need to-
overlooked.
yeah, they get overlooked.
Yeah.
Like it's not just the three of us, y'all. Like,
There's
you know,
the
we got-
TIV. There's actually, I think, over here.
I think it is over a million.
over 400 and.
I thought it was over a million.
Over
You know what? When
million.
I get
Languages in
it, I don't want to say the
I
wrong
thought it was like
thing.
535.
535. Maybe it's Africa. In
Not a
general.
million languages.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot.
In one country. No,
Not in one country. Yeah, we can double check, but maybe it's just a million in Africa in general.
Shout out to my E-Jaws.
Yeah, our Edo people, you know, Benin,
people.
like Shali Puppy. Like, come on.
That's what I'm saying. I can never be
Like,
tribalist.
I can
like,
never be
the,
tribalist. All the
The way I
same.
love a shake. The way I
That's
love
it.
shake. I can.
Like, I can never.
feel like
They
I've
can
been
never
away
make
from
me
my-
hate you.
They can never make.
Hey, you guys,
Can never.
back to business. Wow,
Back to
we're paying too
adulting.
much.
I know we went from adulting to
My
Nigerian
God.
history,
My god.
Biafran history.
All
Just a
right.
little lesson for y'all.
So that like brings us because we've been talking for a minute. So that brings us to the end of the episode.
Like that's
Like that. Okay. Actually, I'll just say to summarize. I'll say like again, adulting is not easy just because of the responsibility that you have. Some of y'all are getting married, you have to step up your game. You're having kids, you have to be responsible. You have kids now. You want to, walk towards creating a bright future for them. Your career is important, and so is your social life important. It's very hard to balance both, but you have to try because you want to be whole. You don't want to have regrets in your 40s, 50s, 30s. A lot of people tend to have midlife crisis.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want that for yourself. So honestly, just do what you can, work hard, do what, if you need advice, like there's therapy available. I'm gonna have an episode before this on therapy, so make sure you watch that one. But there's resources out there. Don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel burdened. If you're feeling burdened, like, as per host and me preaching, like, send me a DM. I'll try my best to see what I can do to help.
Yeah, adulting is stressful, but take it day by day. One thing I will say is don't stress, because I feel like there isn't a testimony without a test, and I feel like
Oh.
for a lot of us, like, we get through things, and just because it's hard in the moment and it feels difficult in the moment, like, we always come out on the other side, and I feel like we always need to remember that. And like, that's personally speaking, that's one of like my motivating factors. Like, yo, it's hard right now, but a year from now, 2 years from now, I'm gonna look back at that and be like, that was nothing. So I feel like adulting is definitely, it's seasons with adulting, like you're saying, people getting married, kids, like all these changes that are going on, even changes in your circle, changes in people that you're friends with, like family changes, like so many different things that happen simultaneously. And just remember to think about the positive things, because everything, I feel like every difficult thing is temporary, and that's one thing I've seen. And then also, having a good spiritual life and praying, and also having that great relationship with God, like that's one thing that keeps me going. So honestly, yeah, good luck with adulting. I know it's difficult, I get it, I understand, but we gonna make it, and we gonna get through all this, especially when you have a good support system. So yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
It's your turn.
No, he was doing something. So
Oh my god.
okay. I just wanted to say, you guys, I know adulting is ghetto. It's very ghetto. This isn't what I signed up for. But we're here. We can't really do anything about it. So it's, we have to like put our best effort forward and try to get through it. I think for me, what has helped me is really just always have a goal, an end goal, and always try to like plan things out and not like let life happen to me, and try to like have a plan as much as possible, and really try to really have good habits. I know in the beginning of my 20s I didn't really have great habits. I was just like really going with the flow, and I was having like bad situations, and I wasn't feeling the best mentally, and I was like kind of down and going through like different type of like episodes of depression. But I really had to figure out like really what am I trying to accomplish, and like how can I build a plan and work through something to get to what I want to accomplish. And when when you know your next steps, it's easier to like block out a lot of the bullshit, right? Because you know like what I have to get done, rather than just waking up, going to work, coming home, being defeated. But like like, okay, this is what I want to do. I know I want to make VP in 5 years or something. These are the steps I have to take. I know that I want to get married in 5 years. These are the steps I have to take. Now, when you don't have that goal and you're just going through life, a lot of things can become a distraction and take you off your path. Like now you're in like bad relationships, and now you're depressed because of that. It's affecting your work performance, and now you're going out partying and doing all these other things, and it's like becoming a distraction for what you're trying to go to. But when you really know like where you're trying to go, like when things come your way, you know how to block it out. It's like the Matrix, right? So like say like you want to get married in 5 years, that's your goal in your 20s. You want to say like at 30 I want to be married. Now at 25, when someone comes, you be like, oh, they're not an intentional person. They have bad energy. I see a bunch of red flags. You're like, move out my way. You stiff arm them. So I think that, when you're in your 20s and you're adulting, I know it's hard, but you really just try to think about what do you want to do in your 30s? What do you want to do in your 40s? What does that look like? What is the path? Really sit down and meditate. I want to tell people that too. Like, meditate, take your time, really think, write it out, journal. Yeah, develop a relationship with God. If you're not a religious person, I'm not gonna fault you for that. But I feel like some sort of spirituality is like necessary, even if you're not religious. Like some sort of spirituality, maybe it's your connection with self that you need to do. Maybe it's self discovery that you need to do. Um, so yeah, that's just my advice. Just keep on going, but know where you're going to, and always like show up every day and try to put in that work to get to where you're trying to go.
All right, guys. Thank you. Please make sure you like, you comment, and you subscribe. If you're watching on Spotify, make sure you follow YouTube, subscribe, and whatnot. Share with your friends and family. I love you guys. Thank you guys who are loyal, always watching every episode. Like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And you guys keep me going. So, see you guys in 2 weeks. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.